And now we'd like to welcome Dave from the Seneca Park Zoo to the show. Hi, Dave.
How you doing?
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Oh, good.
What did you bring to us today?
What did I bring for today? I brought, volleyball. I brought our southern three-banded armadillo. His name is Doug.
Okay.
And he comes from South America. And if we look at this TV behind us, no, we're not going to see anything. I believe that this guy comes from normally the center of South America. He's going to be from the lower Brazil, Paraguay, kind of Argentina area. And what's interesting about him is he is located centrally in South America. So you see.
So it looks like I see a little bit of hair, but what is the other stuff made of, or what is that?
He is covered in armor, and this armor is made of keratin. So it's the same thing that our fingernails are made out of, or our hair is made out of. And it's basically a specialized nail that covers his whole body. This gives him protection, so he can actually roll up into a ball. And because he is so small, he can roll all the way up into this ball, and he can keep his head all the way down to his butt, and then he stay nice and protected in this shell.
Nice.
Now, is he an adult?
He is an adult. Yes, he is an adult. And he is a three-banded armadillo. So he is going to be full size. And his size is determined by his 3 bands he has here on his back.
Gotcha.
So he has 3 bands on his back, and that just means how big or how small he'll be. So that is determined. So the ones we have in the United States, they're 9-banded armadillos.
Oh, they're really
much larger. Yeah, they'd be a good-sized armadillo, and they can't roll up into a full ball like this guy can because they're just too big. Gotcha. So what normally they'll have to do is find another way to protect themselves.
Gotcha. Is Doug a reptile or a mammal?
Good question. We get this a lot at the zoo. He's an odd-looking one, so tough to figure it out. To be classified as a mammal, you have to have some kind of hair.
Yep.
You have to have live birth, and you have to milk or nurse your young with milk.
Yes.
So this guy fulfills all of 3 of those things. He has hair on his belly here, and the other 2 we can just kind of take from my word. Other than that, he uses these hairs much like whiskers. So when he is down in his ball, protected, his senses are down. So what he does is he uses these little hairs on the side to kind of sense if anybody is on the outside of his body.
He's pulling in a little bit.
Yeah, he is. Okay. Now I can see he has very long nails. Does he dig? Is he a digger?
His name is Doug because he dug so many holes. So we like to have some fun at the zoo. So what he does is he does like to dig. He's related to sloths and anteaters. So sloths have amazingly long nails, different purposes, but still very long. And anteaters, what he does is he'll dig down for food. He's mostly going for insects. He'll look for termites. He'll look for anything like that, and then he'll eat them off of underneath the ground or on top of the ground. But he does not burrow for sleeping purposes. He'll find a hole that's pre-made. His jigging area is kind of centrally located. He can't dig a hole big enough to put his whole body in.
Oh, all right.
So he has to find a pre-made, prefabbed burrow.
Oh, very cool then. Yeah. Do they have any other unique adaptations?
He has many unique adaptations, you can see. But one of them that may not be as evident is they can swim. So when he swims, he can do one of 2 different strategies. One is running across the bottom. They're not very buoyant if they don't want to be, so they can be right on the bottom if you'd like and just run across like a stream or a creek.
Sure.
Also, if he thinks that's too deep or dangerous, he will then float on top of the water source. So he can inflate his intestinal tract. He can get a lot more air inside of him and then use it as buoyancy and then truck across the top of a river or a stream.
Oh, it's all happy
now.
Yeah, look at him.
Yeah, he wants to demonstrate.
Look, I can swim.
Okay, now he has a lot of adaptations, but are there any threats that they can't handle?
Amazingly specialized little tank this guy is, but one thing you can't really fight against with your adaptations is habitat loss. So one thing he's experiencing in his natural range is just human encroachment. We're using the land, even in positive ways. It can still displace these little guys, especially through slash and burn farming and things like that.
So now habitat losses seems it's a kind of an issue in our area. What are some things that we can do to help with local species around here?
So what we can all keep doing is just recycling those plastics, reusing, recycling your plastics, making sure that we're not increasing the size of our landfills and things like that. Also, just general basic good practices of being a person, turn off your energy and things like that. And then also build habitats. We build pinecone bird feeders at the zoo all the time or things like that. So make sure that we're building little bits of habitat at home or in your schools and things like that, and then we can kind of create habitat for them as we kind of take it over as well. Cool. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming in, Dave.
Thank you very much for having us.
Doug is ready to go too.
Yes.
He's really moving there. So if you would like to learn more about the Seneca Park Zoo and see other videos about animals, visit our website, homeworkhotline.org. And now, stay right there. We'll be back in a second.